All right, here we are. Ashok, I understand that you have recently solved an interesting problem for a sales team. And you and I both have experience as salespeople and know how everybody's always a little bit on edge. So tell us a little bit about the problem. What did you walk into?
Oh man, every sales organization I've ever walked into had a little bit of an edge to it. I think it might be one of the things that makes them successful, right? Everyone's just a little bit pissed off about something at all times, right? And so, we walk in and, organization with a couple thousand people in the sales organization.
So big one, big group,
yeah,
big team.
It's a biggie. And it's nationwide, in all kinds of markets, not just NFL markets, but, rural areas and so on and so forth. And, it's the same old story, Jimmy and Doc. It's basically you've got sales managers that are looking at data in some way and they're yelling at, their team, a sales rep, a salesperson out there. They're saying, my numbers suck, fix them, right? And here's the sales rep saying, okay, what number do you need me to fix, right? What do you need us to do? We'll do it. And
so wait, isn't it just about sell more stuff? I mean, what were they looking at? Because I know you want me to sell more stuff. So what do you want me to do?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, there's obviously the number of, okay, well, give me the dollars, like show me dollars. But the fact is, our enterprise customers are measuring each other and their organizations on a lot more than just dollars, right? So they want to measure on the efficacy of the interactions that they're having with customers. They want to measure on, the adoption and the usage of the sales tools, the CRMs, in this case, Salesforce. There's lots of different things that they're being measured on beyond just dollars, right? And again, sales managers going, fix my numbers. Sales reps going, tell me how and I'll do it, right? I mean, no one wants to fail, at any of this stuff. But there's this disconnect that just keeps coming up over and over and over again. This place was no different, right?
So let me make sure I understand correctly. So you got the salespeople saying one thing, or the sales manager saying one thing, saying do this, make this better, and the sales people are saying I am doing it, or what do you want me to fix? Where's that? Say more about that disconnect. Why aren't they looking at and understanding the same things?
Right. Well, I think it comes down to this, right? And this is kind of why GoldNero exists, right? The sales management is oftentimes looking at this one little pretty picture, this dashboard that maybe has like a chart, a pie chart, a bar chart, whatever it is, not a ton of detail behind it. You don't actually know which individuals are truly contributing to those numbers in which ways. You're just saying, my number sucks, right? This number sucks. The overall percentage of adoption sucks. The quality of your interactions suck at an overall number for me, right? Because I got my dashboard and it says I suck, right? And then they're saying, okay, well, so fix it. And the rep's saying, well, what can I be doing to make this number better, right?
Right. So you're saying that they're looking at different numbers. They're looking at different reports. Like, so when they
are. Right.
The sales guy is like, what number? Like, they're not even looking at the same thing. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think that happens all the time, right? So sales reps are looking at something tabular and they're seeing their detail world that they live in. They're working on their opportunities and deals and so on and so forth. They're tracking their activities and doing whatever they can. But they don't actually see that big sales number for the management to know. And even if they do see it, they don't know what portion of that number is actually theirs. What is their contribution to that, right? And worse, the sales management doesn't know. So yeah, that's basically the problem, and that's what we set out to solve with GoldNero. And I mean, we solved it. We nailed it.
Okay, so not a unique problem, right? Every sales organization I've been part of has had this. I think you've said that same thing, Ashok. So how did you solve the problem? Where did you start?
So basically just started with saying, okay, the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that sales management and sales leadership, as well as the sales people that are on the ground making the calls, meeting the customers, are all looking at the same sheet of glass, right? They've got to look at the same pane. And so that was the first step. And then it became a question of, okay, what does that pane look like so that it's actually useful and meaningful to someone that's in a management structure that's not interacting on a day-to-day basis with customers, and their job primarily is to manage their people, and yet still make sense to the salesperson who's really interacting with customers all day long.
Did you determine what that would look like, or how did you figure out what that pane of glass looks like?
Definitely worked with team members at M&S to come up with proposals and options that we thought would make sense. And then we worked with the client and client leadership. And, you know, one of the keys here, and I think one of the big changes and differences that we've taken with GoldNero and these particular ideas is that what I see a lot of times is that sales leadership will be the ones that determine all the reports, right? And it's all geared towards exactly what they want. It's very dashboardy and whiz-bangy and very much not in the weeds enough to actually make an impact. So we got representation from the lowest level sales organization as well. So sales representatives that are on the ground, reaching out to customers, making sure they were part of the process as well, especially when you're making a single pane of glass, right? Couldn't just ignore one group or the other. So brought everyone together and came up with something that was really, really fantastic. And it was really, literally, now when they go in, it's the exact same report they're looking at. It's just this cube is spun in a different way so that the person that's looking at it sees, you know, information that's relevant to them.
So you've described not really, initially when we hear about this, we think this is a technical problem we got to solve. It's really, it's an organizational problem that's got some technical support around it. Would you say that's true?
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, every problem I think we go out and solve at M&S is, I mean, the technology to us is typically the easiest part, right? You know, almost every problem that we're solving is really a people problem. So in this case, you know, a problem where these folks needed a way to interact with each other and communicate with each other, set expectations, and be in alignment with each other. And that's really the problem we were solving. Absolutely.
Yeah. So these people, how did you get these people behind this? Because you said the sales managers are accustomed to seeing numbers a certain way, but you got buy-in from all levels, it sounded like. So who did you have to talk to convince them to do this with you?
Yeah, I mean, again, the problem existed, right? And it exists everywhere. You know, sales management and their teams aren't typically able to be aligned from a numbers perspective when it comes to reporting. So so we really talked to all of them. I would say, you know, everyone was involved. We got an idea from sales representatives that, you know, we don't really understand when they tell us they want us to do something, you know, what change we're actually impacting on their report because we don't see their report, right? And sales management, you know, says, well, you know, I tell them to change things, but I can sort of understand their point of view because they don't get to see what I'm looking at, right? And, you know, that being said, you know, even the way that we've done the reporting with GoldNero, you know, as a sales representative, it's not like you get to see data from every single other person in your organization or the sales management or whatever it is. You know, one, may not be appropriate, and two, be information overload, just stuff that you don't care about, right? So we're able to come up with a way that by talking really to all of them, that made sense to everyone in the organization, all the way from sales reps, account executives, you know, all the way up to senior VPs.
Right. So I'm really curious to know, I mean, usually when this sort of thing happens, you need a champion on site, right? Like somebody must have had enough power to say, hey, this sounds like a great idea. I'm going to get people into a room. Like, did you have somebody like that?
So, I mean, we're already working with implementing a CRM solution for the organization, which was championed by, I'd say, more than one executive. But really for this, the chief revenue officer was the biggest champion for this. So, you know, we kind of laid it out, explained the idea, the vision. He explained his vision and his ideas. And what we came up with was considered the holy grail. It was awesome.
So I think most of our viewers are really interested in some of the details about how we solve these problems. So give us just a real quick peek under the hood. I mean, is this on the scale of 1 out of the box to 10 highly customized thousands of lines of code? Yeah. Where is this and how'd you come up with it?
Yeah, okay, great, sure. So, I mean, you know, look, we're using technology that already exists underneath, right? So we're standing on the shoulders of giants here. You know, we're using Microsoft's technologies in, you know, database, analytics, cloud. We're using Oracle's technologies. We're using Amazon Web Services. We're using Snowflake. So there's a plethora of technologies underneath GoldNero that make up this overall solution. But basically, you know, from a customization perspective, it's certainly fairly customized. I think what you find in Salesforce, by the way, of course, is another component of this, a huge component of it. When you look at some of these platforms that are out there, they've got this platform, they've got this capability that they really designed for people that aren't that technical in many ways. So they want to, you know, the world's moving into this drag and drop world, right? You know, try to get everything to show up in this drag and drop way. So we use the platforms that exist that are awesome, and then we did customize on top of those to really get to the heart of what we're trying to do. And
Nice.
I think a lot of places don't necessarily take the time to really customize these key reports. And it's really funny, by the way, because these folks went from using 10 to 15 reports to try to understand their world, and to what we have to be 2 to 3 reports.
Wow.
And really primarily one report that everyone can read off of every single day and do their work off of.
Okay, so I think the one thing that people most want to know now is, how did it work out? How did it help the sales team? What was their reaction to this new set of reports that you put together?
Okay, yeah, got it, right. So, the reaction was great. And I think that really we had buy-in essentially from the very beginning, because we involved so many people in the process early on. But I mean, it was still, considering how many sales organizations I've worked with over the years, pretty incredible to see the usage for the GoldNero visualizations and reports and data analysis that we've done. Even compared to some of the out-of-box reports that people are very accustomed to seeing, they just always go to these reports. And that's everyone from the sales representatives all the way to the senior VP of sales. I mean, they are pulling this data in. It's pretty incredible. So the adoption, I think, is probably the best indicator of the success, and
Yep.
and it's been incredible. And yeah, sales leadership, who's the primary stakeholders that we do get feedback from, have said, like I said earlier, they consider this like the Holy Grail.
Outstanding. Thanks. Well, I see we're running out of time. So thanks, Ashok, and thanks, Tak. This is Jimmy Lutz. If you're interested in another problem, or if you've experienced this problem, leave us a comment. Or if you have other problems like this you'd like to see solved, just leave us a comment there too. Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. See you.
Thanks.